There is nothing quite like that sweet boat life. Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Our first subject we're going to talk about this week is going to be the launch. The launch is that sweet art form of us getting our boats down into the water. Of course, the launch process doesn't start here at the boat ramp though. It starts well before then, and we've got to get our boat down to the ramp first. And we've all got a different approach on how to do this. We all have different tow methods and tow vehicles, and some of us, well, we might even do the ghost tow method. One of the first and most important steps in launching your boat is double and triple checking you have everything you need before you get to the boat launch. Nothing stinks quite as bad as arriving down at the boat ramp with your family only to find out you've forgotten a key or some other important item on your vessel. Then once you've double and triple checked everything to make sure you've got everything you need, you always want to double and triple check the trailer and make sure the boat and everything's tied down good to the trailer, because showing up without your keys is one thing, but showing up at the ramp without the boat is a completely different situation. Once you get to the ramp, then you've got to figure out how to get that sweet vessel into the water. There are many ways of doing this. Everybody's got their own approach, but you know what? Whatever gets you there successfully is gonna work for you. But of course, as always, getting that boat into the water can be a tricky situation sometimes.
I have no idea how this fool drove the car down the ramp. Ain't that something?
And double and triple checking everything doesn't just occur pre-launch, it has to occur post-launch as well when you're going to retrieve the vessel. Kind of like here, you want to make sure you check first that you've got enough tow vehicle to be able to get your vessel out, and then of course you need to make sure, well, that you've got that outdrive trimmed up. Because if you forget to trim that outdrive up, guess what? Your day probably just went from bad to worse. As it's going to go from you thinking, man, I sure hope somebody can help me save this Ford Windstar from going in the water, to, man, I wish my boat was still out there floating and that Windstar was taking a swim. I'll tell you what though, this does seem to be a common theme around boat ramps around the country, where people just are under-vehicled or under-prepared to tow around watercraft. But it sure isn't going to stop these people from buying watercraft. And to top it off, these people are always going to find some way to get that sweet baby down onto the water. And it really doesn't matter if that even means them burying their brand new half-ton pickup truck bed deep in salt water to get that baby retrieved and out into the water. They're doing what it takes to get out there and have some fun. And speaking of retrieving, you know what? That's one of the next steps in the launch process, is always being able to get that boat back in. You've always got to have a plan to be able to make sure you can safely get your vessel back in. And if it's just not something you're comfortable doing, don't be afraid to ask for some help, get some friends involved, and let everybody be a part of the process, kind of like we see here. And of course this one goes well, pets and boating. You know what? Let's go ahead and have that as a subject. Pets and boating. It's not something people talk about a whole lot, but people love to take their dogs and cats or whatever else they've got out on the boat with them. Boating is considered a family hobby, and in most situations, pets are considered part of the family, but this still should be done with extreme caution. I wouldn't do anything with a pet I wouldn't do with a child. Kind of like this crew here, riding up in the bow of the boat in a rough inlet with this dog. Well, that's not the dog's decision, that was these people's decision to do that. You always don't want to put your animal in a position where it can get hurt or injured, especially one that it can't control itself in. But as long as you're doing this safely, you know what? Pets are going to enjoy this just as much as you. They really just want to get out there on the water, spend some time with you, relax, enjoy it, eat a little food, and have a good time. And this really is still like most situations with pets. You can kind of do what you want to do because they're probably going to be into whatever you're into. If you're the kind of person who wants to take your boat down to the sandbar, get a little wild, and have a little fun at the sandbar, your animal's probably going to be into that. If you're that type of person who wants to get out there, have a little wake surfing fun, get behind the boat, rip it up and carve it up, well, your pet may probably be into that as well. Once again, as long as they're with you, they're just going to be out there to have a good time. No matter what kind of hobbies you're into out on the water, whether it's fishing, water sports, or that sandbar life, your pets will likely get out there and have a good time with you. They're likely not going to care what kind of vessel they're on, they're not going to care what the plan is for the day, they're just going to get out there, relax, enjoy themselves, and have a good day out on the water. Which are some of the things that sometimes I actually wish more humans would do when they get out there on the water, which is just really kick back, relax, enjoy yourself, have a good time, enjoy your family and friends, and live it up. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Michaela Creeth, Madison McDonald, Brooke Rush, Shane Olmstead, Alex Asseline, and Adam Hansen did this week. And if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.